My role is to introduce some very special people that are going to come up and talk to you about an amazing historical event. By connecting people, tourism helps Canadians better know and understand one another. We help break down barriers, we build unity. And when tourism is welcomed by a community, Indigenous tourism can help revitalize cultures, languages, celebrate music, song, dance, share stories, art, and cuisine, elevate national pride, and generate economic prosperity. Tourism is a powerful platform for storytelling, truthful storytelling. Le tourisme est aussi formidable pour raconter nos histoires, mais surtout la vérité. But our country's story is not an easy one. We're a country of both amazing achievements and terrible injustices. So to truly represent Canada to the world, we must understand and recognize our country's history. We need to see it for what it is, what it has been, and what it is becoming. More than ever, as storytellers and representatives of the tourism sector, we all have a critical role to play in supporting reconciliation. By celebrating Indigenous culture and supporting Indigenous tourism experiences, we can meaningfully contribute to that journey. That matters to Indigenous peoples and to all Canadians as part of embracing our true history, achieving equity, supporting inclusion, and creating justice in our society, to build the Canada we want, and to become a beacon of openness for other countries in the world. Pour bâtir le Canada que nous voulons et être un phare pour les communautés du monde entier. In March last year, a delegation of Indigenous leaders traveled to Rome for an historical Papal apology from the Catholic Church for its role in residential schools in Canada. Our partners at the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada accompanied this delegation to Rome, offering a powerful cultural performance to showcase the strength, resilience, and pride of Indigenous peoples to the world. Their work helped put Indigenous culture on an international stage and helped guide conversations about the importance of reconciliation to our communities and our people throughout Canada. Today, I'm very honored to introduce you to the ITAC team that led that historic trip to Rome as they shared their reflections on this deeply personal and moving work. Aujourd'hui, j'ai le plaisir de vous présenter l'équipe de l'ITAC derrière ce voyage historique à Rome. Elle nous parlera de cette initiative aussi personnelle qu'émouvante. Keith, please join others on the stage and share your experiences with us.
Thanks, Marcia, and I appreciate the introduction. We're going to have a bit of a challenging topic for, I'm sure, many of us in the room. So just Marcia sort of set the stage for us, but we were asked a number of months prior to the delegation heading to Rome at the end of March, early April, by the, we were asked by the Assembly of First Nations to could we provide some sort of participation and support for the delegates, particularly with the AFN delegates. And so, you know, we thought at ITAC, you know, we are part of cultural experiences. We have a lot of cultural leaders. We'd be happy. And we knew from the outset the objective was not about having the world sort of see us, even though that was like a byproduct. Our task was very specific, twofold. One was to help the Dene National Chief, who was the portfolio holder on this particular difficult mission, Jerry Antoine from Northwest Territories, the Dene National Chief, was to help him create sort of a bit of a, I guess, a bit of a logo, something that he could reflect on around the children, the families, bringing people together. And so our marketing team set out to provide that. And it's something we felt a social and cultural responsibility to do when asked by leadership. So we really felt that was an important piece. The second thing that we were asked to do, and I will have my colleagues speak to that shortly, but the overview for us was really around how can we ensure that the delegates that were going to listen to the Pope and his entourage, that when they came out, they felt culturally supported. We weren't there to be a show for the St. Peter's folks that were there. It was really an Indigenous protocol cultural support. And we knew that going into this, and we knew it was a heavy burden, but we felt it was our responsibility. And I want to thank our ITAC board and our team for just accepting that as something we needed to do as an industry to show support when we can. That yes, we can be the fun industry and we can drive economics, but at the end of the day, we also need to follow our protocols and our cultures, whether you're First Nation, Métis, or Inuit. So my team here joined me. I asked them all for very specific reasons to accompany us, and I'll have them introduce themselves, and we're going to replay that event shortly. And what we want you to do is have a sense of, and we felt it was important to tell our delegates why this is part and parcel of reconciliation and how we're trying to position this. When we say authenticity, we also need to lead by example at ITAC, and we do that in anything we do, whether it's marketing or this cultural work. So I'm going to, I'll quickly go through. I think everyone knows our chair. Pardon me. I'm dating myself here a little bit. Sorry. I'm tired. Anyways, and this is a very heavy topic, so I'm like bumbling. But Marilyn, of course, from the Yukon. Zane is one of our marketing team members, a young Métis guy that we're very proud of. And Cecilia from the Musqueam Nation, who's really on our staff, is not only there as the director of finance, but our cultural leader. And she grounds us when we feel the world's walls collapsing in on us. So Zane, I want to talk to you. So Zane, just in your own words, why did you attend Rome? Really, what were you hoping to capture, and how was this received back home and around in your circles, plus your perception of how it was received in the world?
For sure. Thanks, Keith. I first and foremost want to reiterate, my job is I'm a content creator, but nothing about this event was to be sensationalized. We were there to uphold our delegates and in a way uphold our communities back home. We wanted to share this message with the world that we were there in support of the AFN and all the other delegates. That said, I was there to capture content assets, whether that be videography or photography, or I wrote a very cathartic firsthand account that you can find on destinationindigenous.ca. What I was doing was gathering assets, and because it was a very seasonable and timely event, I also was rapidly distributing those assets back home to a ground team who were, albeit on vastly different time zones than us, so it made for some very, very long and hard days. But we wanted to make sure that people were getting updates about what was happening. We're not offering news. There are news outlets for that. But we wanted people to see what I got to see, which was our people standing proud there in support of our delegates. And while it was an incredibly emotionally taxing event, the execution was actually quite seamless. Like these really strong dancers and delegates in the regalia standing, and the juxtaposition of them standing behind this, or in front of rather, this like Baroque backdrop of St. Peter's Square and the Basilica, it kind of spoke for itself. It was a very, very powerful message that delivered, and ultimately that was my mission there was to deliver this message of sheer power and pride and resilience and ultimately reconciliation. And that was received by our audiences, although our audience is predominantly a tourism audience. They saw incredible value in these assets that we were able to provide via our channels.
Marilyn, not only as a board member, I reached out to you and I wasn't sure how you'd react because of the sensitivity of this mission. It was a mission. And I remember asking you about what you thought would be appropriate, because I knew what the Dene National Chief and his team and what they were asking of us, but I didn't know, I was confused on how to position it with us. So you were instrumental in identifying and assembling the actual cultural performers who attended the delegation, and we're going to meet them shortly. But what did the showcase represent, and why did you choose those dancers?
Hi everybody. My name is Marilyn, as you know, and besides my ITAC life, I do lead a dance group. And so, I have a large network of friendships and experiences with many, many Indigenous performers from around Canada. And as we talked, we started thinking about this and talking about this, it was absolutely essential that we had representation from all across the country. And so obviously we couldn't take a huge group, but we had every major region covered. So the North, Inuit, we had Mi'kmaq, we had like the Eastern Woodlands, the Plains, Métis, we had the coast of BC, and then we had up again in the north. So it was basically comprised of that in mind, and also just reaching out to people who I have friendships with, relationships with, and asking the question. And for myself, Keith called, he laid it out, and I was like, I'm in, absolutely. And for me, it was, it's so important that people realize we didn't go there to dance for the Pope, because we actually got a lot of lateral violence in regards to that. I wouldn't go there and dance for the Pope, people were saying in our community, and we were like, we're not going to dance for the Pope. We're there to hold up our people, to hold them up because they're doing something really hard, painful, and we need to be there when they come out and hold them up, support them, give them strength, remind them of the resilience of our communities and our people. And so the delegation of, performers are mainly young people. They're mainly youth. And so for me, there was just no question, and personally, it's about my mom, it's about my grandma and grandpa, who were the first generation to go into residential school in my community. So it's for them, right? It was absolutely for them. And, our message is we're still here, and it didn't work because look at us. We're here and we're singing our songs, some of them 10,000 years old. It didn't work, but that's kind of how it came together, is just making sure that we had as full of a representation as we could.
Just turning to Cecilia, I know as I sort of introed you informally, but we know you're a strong cultural leader, not only for Musqueam, but for a lot of the urban Indigenous community in Vancouver. And I know you attended because of your cultural knowledge and reconciliation work you do in the communities. In your opinion, how do you think this project raised awareness about reconciliation back in Canada?
Well, a lot of people, I met other people there while we were there who were not part of the delegation, and they just kind of found themselves there. And I really loved the idea of going to hold up the survivors when they came out, because they needed, like, your songs and dances are medicine, right? That's good medicine for them. So we started, sort of live streaming. And I had just personally a Facebook Live. And oh my God, the awareness! Like, there was people I didn't even know who started messaging me. So it really like flooded out and multiplied out into many places, and I kept thinking of, you know, people from elementary school who I didn't know. I used to work at Air Canada. I used to work at Destination BC. Like, so many people were messaging me. So from all of us who are there, all of our contacts, you know, really raised that awareness to all of our non-native friends at home as well. So, and they were all, like, everyone that was messaging was saying, you know, I'm sitting in front of my computer crying, I'm watching my phone crying, like, because, you know, what had happened, as was said earlier, like, people didn't really know, like, there was massive truth and reconciliation commissions, as Mary Sinclair said yesterday, but people didn't really get what was going on, and so this was another, like, touch point for them with all of us and all of our contacts, and they were like, wow, I really know somebody, like, this has touched my life. So I think it raised awareness in that way.
Yeah, I would agree. Even for some of our own personal social media, I remember I started to blog about it, and even on my LinkedIn, I particularly had one post, and it, like, on LinkedIn, I do on all the social media platforms, but all of a sudden LinkedIn, on one particular post, it was over 200,000 views on it instantly, and I was like, wow, I've never had that. So that, and it was back, those were all touch points back in Canada, and I was thinking to myself, boy, this is reaching to a level I've personally never seen before. I want to ask you two questions. We'll just sort of do more in a rapid fire. I'll do one then the other, but maybe I'll start with you, Zane. What was the experience like for you on the ground?
Yeah, it's really interesting to look back on this. I have this habit of compartmentalizing when I'm working and just trying to stay focused and remove emotions, and it was extremely difficult because it was a very, very, like, you could feel it in the air, the weight of what was happening. And like I said, just like the imagery of all of our people standing there proudly, it took a toll. And yeah, it was crazy. And I just basically, because I was so not eyes on the prize, there was really no prize, but, like, because I was so focused on what we were doing, I didn't really take it in until the very, very end when I went to we rented me a little Roman office space where I would go and send my assets back to Canada because internet in Rome, I guess, isn't as developed as it is here. So, and I had these huge files, and I remember I was there on the evening of the 1st following the apology, getting kind of my final round of assets back to Canada. And as everyone was waking up overseas, I instantaneously got, like, a flood of messages and emails and screenshots of photos from countless news outlets, international news outlets, of photos of us standing proudly behind the delegation who were announcing the apology in front of a scrim of press. And kind of in that moment, it hit me very viscerally. I had to see it through a different lens in order for me to understand just, like, how historic this really was. And at that moment, I just remember it's very like weeping alone in this little office space in Rome. And I just really want to take this opportunity to thank you and my aunties for taking me under your wing for this, because I think that this will forever be the most impactful week of my life.
Thank you. Cecilia, what was the experience like for you on the ground?
How much time do you have?
6 minutes.
6 minutes, okay, go. It was a strange feeling going there. There was definitely a heaviness, and there was, I don't have any other way how to say it, like a evil darkness that was kind of around there, and I could feel it kind of oozing around us. And you know, we were there, like Marilyn said, bringing positivity and songs, but there was really something black, like pushing on us while we were there. And Rome, we were checking the weather before we went. It was nice and sunny and warm, and when we got there, it was like dark and clouds, and so there was that feeling. And when I saw these dancers come out in their regalia, just walking and fanning out into St. Peter's Square, and I heard Angela's jingle dress. You know, I could just hear those bells kind of in the background while we were walking. And you know, Rita, you'll see her video. She was doing the throat singing, like just little silent noises in there, and you know, little voices in my head. You know, oh, we're here. You know, we're here, and we were all walking, and we were here. And like I said, there was other people there, like from Catesy, from Squamish. I was like, hey, what are you doing here? And they literally paid their own way to go and just stand and witness and support, just like we were. So it was it was heavy, but like Marilyn said, I kept getting that feeling. You know, look, we made it. We came back to the scene of the crime. We're here. We survived, and we're going to show you. When there was a very powerful moment, I would say the most powerful moment was a representative from the Oneida Nation. One of the matriarchs brought with her a cradle board, and she left it with the Pope overnight. And I said to these guys, you know, he's not alone tonight. Like there's a child talking to him all night. And the next day he gave the apology. And I don't know, like most people said they weren't expecting that. But gee, I mean, it got me really emotional when I was there. Like I couldn't stop thinking about that. Like I felt like she was handing him her baby, and he could get that feeling. Look, you know, parents were without their babies for years because of what your people did. And so that to me, that was the most powerful message. And at the end, when they came out, you know, all in tears or happy or all of that, when they saw Marilyn and her dance group from every part of Turtle Island, as they call it back here and in the East. We don't call it that in Musqueam, but every song, they all started joining in their songs, and it was real medicine. So I really thank Marilyn. Like I was like, you want her to pull together a whole dance group, and she did it. So yeah, so really good medicine on those, and I actually snuck in some medicine of Audrey's, and I was sprinkling it around all over the place, you know. Anyway, so yeah.
And Marilyn, for you, what was the experience like on the ground? Obviously, you were not only there on the ground from an operational side, if I want to just be mechanical about it, but it was your vision to help bring the group. What was it like just realizing this come together on the ground there?
Well, I was like Zane as well. I was really focused on what we were doing and the group, you know, because I really just want to hold them up. They're amazing. You're gonna witness like champion dancers from all across the land, people who are so culturally, you know, entrenched into their communities. They're beautiful and they're so strong, and you know that really was part of what was so meaningful for me, is that I feel like we went through something, all of us, you know, the group of us that were there. We were trying to be quiet. Oh, I should also say we had an elder with us, of course, my auntie, my real auntie. She's going to be on the stage with us too, and thank God we had her, you know. So it was just being focused on what we were doing. I did feel the heaviness as well, but every time I felt that, I looked at them, you know, these kids. My mom always used to call us the kids. I looked at these kids and I'm like, we're going to be okay. You know, we're going to be okay. We survived and we're thriving now. We're not just surviving, we're thriving. We have a lot of strength. So for me, it was just about, you know, making sure that we were able to do what we did to protect ourselves, you know, to be together, to have strength. And yeah, just, it was an amazing experience. I still can't even really articulate it all, but it was incredible. So many things happened, but at the end, I think we felt like we really supported our people, and that's what we went there to do. That was our sole purpose, was to hold them up, and I felt like we did that.
I do want to ask, we have very limited time, so but just keep the answers to 20 seconds or less, but what moment sticks out to you the most? I'll start with Cecilia. That one moment.
That was
The cradle. Zane?
The round dance, sorry, my gosh. Around the fountain was something I'll never forget. It was so triumphant and amazing.
And for yourself, Marilyn?
This is kind of weird, but when all of a sudden the Pope was making this announcement, and we were just kind of standing around St. Peter's Square, and this Indigenous photographer came running out. He's like, he's apologizing. Oh, yeah. We're like, what? And so we just all gathered around and then immediately got swooped up. And the chiefs, the AFN and the chiefs were over there. There was like a sea of media, you know, like recording them. And we were a part of it. We tried to be quiet. We tried to be on the sidelines. We were trying to only be there for them. But we ended up all over the world. People were like sending us, look, I just seen you in Switzerland on like La 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 News. And we were just like, oh my God. You know, we were trying to be quiet and unseen, but it just didn't work out. And the other great moment too was when the boys started singing. We were like, we don't know what to do. So they just started singing. And immediately one of the girls from the AFN, she's like this. She was like a gopher. Boys, come here. So the next thing you know, we were like right in the middle of it all. It was amazing.
Yeah, one of my, as I look back on the significance of that event, I'll just finish one commentary for myself. We didn't care. We went in knowing we were there to support the leadership. Whatever they wanted us, we wouldn't be intruding. We would support them and be there for the delegates. But the dancers themselves felt the sense. All of those dancers have families impacted by residential school. And they all were in St. Peter's. And I remember we kind of made a team decision that we didn't care. We were going to do certain things at certain times. And we went in the square, and we almost created an international incident because security surrounded us, and they weren't joking. They were ready to arrest us all and take us into incarceration because we were...
First time?
Not for me. For you? You're a protester. Come on now. Let's be really honest in front of the stage here.
Wasn't our first time we'd end up in the big house.
Yeah.
Joke.
So yes. Fortunately, ITAC management all came back without criminal records, and we are still allowed to fly internationally.
It's because we were on the Italian side of St. Peter's Square, not the Swiss.
Which we had no idea. We were just naive and wandering around thinking we would just perform anywhere. And I'll never forget, because they had no idea, and the cops thought like I was like their general manager or something, because I was a guy with a suit jacket on or something. And they're like talking to me, and I couldn't understand a word they said, and some guy interpreting finally says, if you don't stop, they're getting their machine guns. They're coming. Like, they're going to actually arrest you. Like, do you realize how serious this is? I'm like, yeah, I do. And I was, you know, we do our Indigenous thing. Oh, really? Oh, okay. We'll be done in a minute, I promise you. And we just kept going, right? I didn't think it was that serious. And the guy's finally, then the cop who could speak a little bit of English came and said, I won't say exactly because there was swear words in it, but if you don't stop the FFF, what you're doing, we're going to arrest you guys. He was very clear. And I'm like, guys, let's go. But my point is, I just think that I thank our team because we tried to represent cultural, Canada's a cultural destination in the sense of culture strong. And I will say one other thing, that there was a time when we have a long ways to go. You know, Senator Sinclair said it yesterday, and the world still doesn't know it, but there's challenges. Because we faced not only lateral violence online, we faced it even in St. Peter's Square with alleged Christians. We had people say to us, "Vamonos, vamonos." They saw us as peasants when they were in their regalia. So, you know, we've got a long ways to go, and it's a story we'll never forget. So with that, I'll turn it to Marilyn, and I just want to say thank you for helping the delegates just get a little bit of a sense. This is such a small sense of what happened there, and I know they're going to get a lot more through the videos, but thank you very much, team.
Thank you. Thanks, Keith, and thank you guys for being there. So we have an amazing presentation for you guys today. We actually brought the dancers here. We're going to recreate what we did in Rome for you today. So I'll just stand over here while these guys take the chairs and tables off. But like I said earlier, we were able to assemble some of the most incredible dancers that we have in Canada. Young people who have grown up in their cultures, who have parents or grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents who are in residential schools. So today we're going to showcase all of our nations. Each of us are going to sing a song and do a dance from all of our nations. And 3 of our participants were unable to make it, so they sent us videos, so you'll see them as well. And thank you so much for being here, and we hope you enjoy our show. We're going to St. Peter's Square.
Members of an Indigenous delegation from Canada arrived in Rome today ahead of historic meetings this week with Pope Francis that begin tomorrow.
To our people, so when I sing it, it'd be really kind of you and respectful to stand up. So if you can all stand up, that'd be.
We begin in the north with a Dene prayer song.
Etioshi fagos onte na hinde dio unta se yaketso etishi malne beajela eta etitsen ya kani shietseji da fotila jomatse betenesia. I just thank you so much for being here. This prayer song that we're going to sing for you comes from a long, long ways from the north. It was given to an elder among the Shutakotene. Many Dene people sing this, and it's a prayer song that is sacred to our people. So when I sing it, it'd be really kind of you and respectful to stand up. So if you can all stand up, that'd be great. This prayer is for your journey home. It is also for the endeavors that you're undertaking here today to move forward. It's to also guide you and bless you all that are here today for the work that you're doing. Damasi.
Inuit, the Arctic.
Iqaqsau tilagu bisik sagaluaga inuilla mimani mani ya mani mani ya mani ya
Mi'kmaq Nation, the East Coast. Mohawk Nation, the Eastern Woodlands.
Cree Nation, the Plains.
Métis Nation. Shimshan and Nishka, Pacific Coast. Northwestern Subarctic Inland Tlingit and Dene.
Yeah.
danced in Rome for our own people, the survivors and our ancestors. We danced to lift their spirits, support them, and show the world it did not work. We are still alive. We survived because of the strength and resistance of our people, and we are stronger than ever. Last but not least, the champion hoop dancers. Everybody put your hands together for our dancers.